can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing?
We are back live, the Christmas holiday edition of the Dinko Gridiron Show.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Grayson Nolette. I'm John Piper. We'll give you guys a little time to share the stream out. And podcast listeners, thank you so much for being a part of Season 4. And it's hard to believe we're winding down the Texas high school football season, Grayson.
I know. We're down to just 3 teams today. One of them, amazingly, is the Argyle Eagles with their 4A Division I state championship run with an amazing 21 or 24 win over the Lindale Eagles. Nonetheless,
yeah,
that's kind of the focal point for today's show. It's going to be a lot of fun to talk about them, talk about that championship.
Hey, a lot of folks are maybe off work this week, maybe getting some final Christmas presents under the tree.
Gearing up.
Hey, I think it's probably too late to order some Suckle Busters, but hey, Grayson, hold up that Suckle Busters real quick. Maybe we should give away a gift pack for maybe after Christmas.
Here it is. Here it is. It's up front.
Yeah, maybe we should give away a Suckle Busters gift pack today. What do you think?
Got them on deck. Might as well give them on out.
Yeah, and text the word Dinko to 214-416-9771. Become part of our community. We can text out special news, information about Gridiron Players of the Week. Some of our partners will offer up special promotions that we can share with you as well. So we're going to have some live guests join us as well. Some members of the Argyle Eagles state championship football team will be joining us here a little later in the show. So you want to stay tuned for that. And it should be a great show, Grayson.
Yeah, first opportunity that we've been able to bring a couple of players on the show this season. John, normally they got to focus on school and studying, and some of them got to focus on college applications and all that kind of stuff. So we don't want to get in their ear too much throughout the middle of the season. But the Argyle Eagles, they finished up 16-0, state champions, 4A Division I. These kids, I'm sure they're excited to come on here and talk to us, these young men, about this incredible season that they've had. It's going to be a great show. I'm excited to be back after a couple weeks off.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I just posted in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We always like to hear from you. And, man, I hope I didn't make another boo-boo. I didn't check the audio again.
I just checked it. We're sounding good.
Okay. Yeah, I think it defaulted. We're actually technically very savvy, but, man, I've been tuning into like some national broadcasts, Grayson, even the national news. They have technical issues getting on the air because a lot of them are broadcasting kind of like we are from remote locations and in their home studios. So, 2020 rules out here obviously don't make it easier for basically anybody who's working with the UIL or in the playoffs and stuff. So, yeah, I'm double checking our audio is connected to the right source.
The fact that honestly, we've made it through 4A though, and we have 4A state champions really makes me feel confident about the rest of the playoffs with 5A and 6A.
We've got a little Christmas music going on in the background. Of course, it's royalty-free, so we don't get in Facebook or YouTube jail. But, hey, share out the broadcast. Thank you so much for being a part of the Dinko Gridiron Show for Season 4. And, Grayson, man, I've said it to you before. I'll say it again. You've done a great job in your first season joining me here. And, man, you've had a busy year doing the play-by-play for the Louisville Fighting Farmers, and you're doing some playoff games. Yep. So, an exciting season for you.
Yeah, I've been keeping myself busy. I mean, I was in Shreveport, Louisiana, calling state championships for swimming in Louisiana. I actually just worked with a different company calling some hockey games on Monday.
Really?
Yeah, I called a couple of hockey games on Monday morning for the North American Prospects Hockey League. A lot of the top, high school hockey prospects in the country. So I called some teams from Canada. There was a couple teams from Arizona, New Hampshire. So it was a very interesting experience, but I've been keeping myself busy. And yeah, of course, unfortunately, Louisville finished up their season in brutal fashion, a 68-0 loss.
Yeah, I texted you this morning. I'm like, man, that's hard to believe because Louisville had a solid team. And to finish their final playoff game 68-0 is tough.
Well, they did a great job in the first round, taking down the McKinney Boyd Broncos 48-24. They looked really hungry. Looked like they were in great position to be a competitive group against the Martin Warriors. And Martin just kind of proved, I think, more than anything else, that they are still in that elite category up there with Allen and Trinity and, all those top historic programs that are out here. And I just think Louisville is still right on the cusp of that. But I'll tell you what, head coach Mike Odell is completely aware of that. They've got about 7 returning starters on offense, 6 on defense. So a lot of talent, a lot of young talent coming back to that team next year. Hopefully I get to stick with them and keep broadcasting them.
Well, folks, we are going to hear a message from one of our sponsors, and then we'll be right back to get right into the show. Thank you for being here, and Merry Christmas. BudBartleyHomes.com is one of the area's finest home builders, locally owned and operated for over 30 years. 3 new neighborhoods to choose from: Sunset Point, a 1/3 to half-acre Lakeview lots, only a 3 to 4 minute walk to Lake Grapevine's Twin Coves Marina. Watch the Gaylord Texans summertime fireworks show from your brand new home. Low-maintenance single-story homes in Highland Village from the upper 400s, and 2-acre lots are available in Copper Canyon. BudBartleyHomes.com, they can build on your lot or theirs. Bud Bartley Homes has built homes for many of the area's top realtors and other industry professionals. We are confident the team at Bud Bartley will exceed your expectations. Take it from me, John Piper. They built my home over 15 years ago. The excitement is building at BudBartleyHomes.com.
Them out of BudBartleyHomes.com. John, I know they built your house years ago. They have so many different pictures on their website. They do a great job with their social media. Tons of interior
real estate
and
market's been
pictures.
crazy too. A lot of people are expanding their house because they need to have 2 offices instead of 1. Both spouses work, things like that. But well, Grayson, let's hop right into the show and talk a little Texas high school football.
Yeah, we'll have Argyle and a couple of Eagles players joining us to talk about Argyle State Championship run in the second half of the show. But for the first half, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about 6A and 5A playoff football with the Guyer Wildcats and the Ryan Raiders. So why don't we go ahead and kick it off here with Guyer, John?
Yeah, I do Guyer Radio along with Rick Throkill and Kyle Rogers. And, it's fun. I know you've done a couple games in Globe Life Park as well.
Yeah.
But Guyer this past week played the Arlington. Arlington right there.
The Arlington,
it's kind of confusing. We're playing in Arlington against Arlington.
The Colts.
But at Globe Life Park, and a great game. It went to double overtime, and Coach Webb, even though Arlington had a 5-5 record, they played some very tough teams throughout the season. And Argyle really brought it. They went toe-to-toe with Guyer, took them to overtime. Not Argyle. We got Argyle on our mind. And Guyer wins it in double overtime. Eli Stowers, we were talking to Coach Webb this morning. You don't have to throw the ball a lot when you can rush for over 300 yards. And they had kind of a trifecta or a 3-headed monster in both Eli Stowers rushing for about 103 yards, BJ Phillips, I think, for 131, and Tyon Aldridge for 124 yards. BJ Phillips with 3 touchdowns, and Eli Stowers gets the naked bootleg at the very end. And Coach Webb said it was a special play that he put in that just he and Eli knew about, and he signaled it to him, and it worked to win the game in double overtime.
Yeah, so in the first round of the playoffs, Guyer kind of blows through the Coppell Cowboys pretty easily, 52-24, doing their thing. And then they have, like you said, John, a much more difficult overtime thriller against the Arlington Colts in round 2, 38-31, the final score there. And yeah, I think you're absolutely right, John. It's crazy to think that the Wildcats have, I don't want to say completely abandoned the passing offense. Of course, Grayson O'Bara has been out for a majority of this year, their number 1 wide receiver. But Eli Stowers goes just 6 of 12 through the air for 128 yards and just 1 passing touchdown, no interceptions. But it's just it was a ground and pound attack by the Wildcats that really got them this victory over Arlington.
And we were talking, Grayson, before the show started, and one of those completions that went for 37 yards and a touchdown was in and out of the hands of an Arlington Colt defender right at the goal line. It goes in the hands and into the receiver. Bryson Rick.
Yeah, you could have said easily that one touchdown on the night passing for Eli Stowers would have been a pretty costly interception at that. So, again, not to discredit Eli here in his passing game, but it's just really been the running offense of Guyer that's been the dominant force. As you said, John, BJ Phillips has been the star, both against Coppell. He was the star too. He had over 200 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns against Coppell in round 1. And in round 2, he goes 34 carries for 131 yards and 3 more rushing touchdowns against the Arlington Colts. Tyon Aldridge, 124 yards rushing. And then Eli Stowers has almost more rushing yards than he does passing. He ended the night against Arlington, 15 carries, 103 yards. And as you said, that touchdown that he had there with Rodney Webb and company.
Yeah, that RPO offense, they run at Mach 1 speed. They just hurry up offense. I'm not sure how many plays from scrimmage Guyer had, but it gives Eli Stowers a chance. He gets that defense a little off balance, catching their breath. It goes at like 6'3", 210, 15 pounds. He can run like a deer.
Yeah, and of course, it's great to have a dominant offensive line as well, which Guyer has one of the best in 6A, several D1 guys on that offensive line for the Wildcats. And I think they certainly deserve a ton of credit. I mean, BJ Phillips was a decent weapon, I feel like, in the first half of the season, but he's really turned it on near their last couple of games of the regular season. And of course, 3 touchdowns in each of their first 2 playoff games. BJ Phillips has been a whole nother type of weapon that I feel like Rodney Webb has just really begun to utilize here in this back half of the season. And I think it's really done well for the Wildcats, that ground and pound and a strong defense as well that they bring to the table, even without Deuce Harmon out there in the secondary.
Yeah. Hey, Grayson, we got quite a few people popping in here. So to kind of reset things, if you could hold up that Suckle Busters, I'm kind of in the gift giving mood.
Sure.
Here it is, Christmas. So
it's the holiday season.
If you'll type in just comments, just type in Suckle Busters in the comments. We'll do a drawing for one of these gift packages and we'll mail it to you. You'll get it probably a little after Christmas, but some of you may be getting a new smoker, a new gas grill for Christmas, and Suckle Busters. I'm going to be doing a couple briskets over the holidays, and I know unfortunately I think you're staying here and not being able to be with family at Christmas as well.
Yeah,
right?
my fiance and I, we're just going to have a little quiet Christmas at our home in Carrollton, and it should be a really nice time. We've been really busy for Thanksgiving and the holidays, so we just kind of wanted to have a Christmas with just her and I. So it should be really nice though.
We got some people. Yeah. Ron Rogers. I'm here for Suckle Busters.
Yeah, of course. Got some, there's a beef rub, a chicken rub, and a pork rib rub in this package. So if you like maybe just pork or just ribs or just beef, you got all the options here. So covering all the bases.
Great time of year to be smoking some meats. And I've enjoyed it. I was late to the game, and that's one reason we talk about Suckle Busters. I just got a smoker about 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah,
and,
I've
been in Texas 23 years and just got into it, and I really enjoy it. And so you'll see some pictures on our social media once I get that brisket going. And since you're going to be local, maybe I'll bring you a pound or 2.
You can bring me whatever the heck you want if you're cooking barbecue.
We'll feed Grayson some brisket here over the holidays. So. Man, yeah, Guyer, one of the storylines too there, Grayson, is they've got their offensive line back, some big boys. Guyer's known to have a big offensive line each and every season. And for the first time, really the last 2 weeks, they've had everybody back healthy. They've been nursing some injuries. Knox Boyd.
We knew Knox Boyd had been out for a little bit.
Back.
And so he's obviously a focal point of that offensive line. I just think that they deserve a ton of credit, especially with the way that Guyer's run game has been playing. And, running a hurry-up offense, as you mentioned, John, that doesn't just wear out the defense. That wears out that offensive line, too, having to keep up with all these speedy players, in these weapons that they've got in the run game. But huge credit to the big uglies of the Wildcats. They've done an amazing job of blocking for Eli Stowers and BJ Phillips. And their defense as well has really kept them in a lot of these games. Now, Arlington may have taken Guyer to overtime, but the Wildcats' next matchup is actually going to be the 6-4 Abilene Eagles. That's going to be on the 26th, the day after Christmas, this Saturday. They're going to be playing at 3:15 at Globe Life Park. I actually think that this is a much better matchup for Guyer than Arlington. I think the Colts are a little bit better of a club than the Abilene Eagles are. Of course, Abilene has certainly had to fight their way to get to this spot. I just think with this ground and pound game, the way that Guyer's been wearing teams down with this strong run game and defense, I do like the Wildcats here in this one at Globe Life.
I tell you, one of the players that has really stepped up due to some injuries on the defensive side, Marquand Pope for the Guyer Wildcats, playing big. And if they're going to have Fugate back, he's a Florida State commit. Coach Webb has said he's been practicing this week and he'll be back. So that'll button up and shore up some things on the defensive side for Guyer. I did get a chance to visit with Coach Fullen, head coach of Abilene, this week. And he's been with the program for 20 years, Grayson.
Wow.
You see a lot of that in these smaller towns. I call it Friday night light towns.
Yeah, I mean, Martin's head coach, when I called that game, I was like, he'd been there for, I think, 15 or 16
Well, he
years,
hadn't been the head coach for 20 years, but he's been part of the program.
Right.
He got named the head coach
crazy.
in 2019.
Still, to be with the same school for that long is so impressive.
And one of the storylines, there's all kinds of unique storylines in the playoffs, but Coach Fullen's battling colon cancer. So he's going through treatment each and every week. And you talking about the kids really got something to play for. So that's one of the storylines. Coach Webb knows him well, being part of the Texas High School Football Coaches Association. A lot of respect for Coach Fullen. And I enjoyed talking to him. You can tell he says he has good days and bad days, but he's fighting through it. And something we can all take from that is to, suit up and show up and play for something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, totally agree with you in that one. I mean, all the credit to him and his program. I mean, the fact that they've even gotten this deep in the playoffs is beyond impressive with those circumstances, for sure.
Well, I'll tell you one thing Abilene brings to the table is they've got like a 1-2 punch in that backfield. Coach Fulham calls him Thunder and Lightning, and Fonzo Dotson. He's our leading rusher, 871 yards, averaging 6.5 yards per touch. Oof. And then the King Thomas, 400 yards rushing this season, averaging 5.9 yards a touch. So that's going to be tough for the Guyer Wildcats. I mean, they're going to have to, in that 3-4 defense, they're going to have to slow those guys down.
Yeah, I think Abilene is obviously a great club. And as I said earlier, I mean, there's a reason why they've been able to fight this long up into this point in the playoffs. In the first round, they took down El Paso Eastwood 42-35, and then actually gotten a really tough one with North Crowley in the second round, 12-7. So they've really had to dogfight to stay in the postseason. And I mean, you got to think about, this is a program that in 2019 went 3-7, and in 2018 was just 5-5. So, the Abilene Eagles are already having one of their more impressive years in recent memory. And the fact that they actually have a really solid ground attack there. And I'm not saying that they can't beat Guyer. I just think that the Wildcats are the more talented club. And just with the way that both teams have a really strong run game, I think the Wildcats have a little bit more elite of a defense there, even without Deuce Harmon. I mean, they still had 2 picks in that win against Arlington, despite the fact that Deuce Harmon's not out there in the secondary. So I just think Guyer's been playing really well right now with that strategy. Yeah,
good time of year to be playing well. And hey, shout out to our podcast listeners. They're not able to listen, obviously, to us live, but they'll be listening on this replay. And where they might be driving somewhere on Christmas break. We'll get the podcast uploaded later today. And thank you so much for tuning in. Wherever you get your podcast, you can find us. Just search Dinko Gridiron, wherever you consume your podcast. Grayson, anything else on the Guyer Wildcats?
No, good luck to them on Saturday. Hope everybody's able to enjoy time with their family on Christmas Day. Well, they got a 3:15 kickoff at Globe Life the day after Christmas against Abilene. Hope they better come to play. And, should be a good one against the Eagles.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. I'll be back on the call with Rick Throwkill. And that's a neat – actually, that stadium sets up better for football than I thought it would.
I really, when I first walked in, and it was my first time seeing Globe Life Park as a football stadium, I was thinking to myself, like, man, this is really weird, because the suite that we were in was kind of at this angle towards the football field that wasn't quite right. It was still kind of sort of facing home plate, like for baseball. But as time went on, because I called 2 games that afternoon, when I got into the second game, which was an Alito matchup, I was like, you know what? I'm liking this more and more the longer I sit here in this booth. And we were really close to the field, had good vision of everything. So I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I thought it'd be kind of a weird dynamic, but the field sets well inside, and the way they brought in those bleachers, I think was pretty good for the fans.
Yeah, if I've got any advice, it is not a high school stadium. That is still a professionally managed venue, Globe Life Park. So you want to make sure you get there a little early to make sure you talk to the right security people, because
right.
they're not just letting anybody in there. I'll tell you what. But still, it was fun to call football there. I do not hate it as a stadium by any stretch.
Well, hey, next up, the Ryan Raiders.
Yeah, you can maybe call them the Argyle of 5A, the Ryan Raiders. I mean, both teams have been just as dominant in their respective divisions so far this year. Ryan has blown through their first two opponents in the playoffs. Round one, they took down the Bryan Adams Cougars 69-6. Was hardly even a game, to be honest with you. And then second round, they take down the College Station Cougars 52-21. They're 11-0 going into their matchup this Saturday, which they've got the Longview Lobos to look forward to now. But man, nobody's even sniffing Ryan at the moment.
Yeah, 69-6. They're just blowing people completely out of the water. I mean, just dominating.
They're putting in the backup. I mean, against Bryan Adams, Seth Hennigan only threw 10 passes. He completed 9 of them for over 175 yards and 3 touchdowns. They end up putting the backup, Kalen Davis, in the second half. Kalen Davis, the backup, goes 5 for 5 for 100 passing yards and another passing touchdown against Bryan Adams in the second half. Like, they're putting in the backups and they're dominating. I mean, the Raiders are just looking so good. Even their, like I said, their backups and their second guys, they're just so deep. Like, it's relentless.
Yeah, and I believe everyone's healthy for Ryan. You know, that is always a storyline this deep into the season, is injuries, and I'm not aware of any major injuries to that Ryan, those starters.
Yeah, you know, and I completely agree with you, first of all. And I think it's just the fact that I think that the leaders of this year's team are really just the right players. You know, in years past, when you had Spencer Sanders and Gabriel Douglas was a wide receiver that was supposed to go to Texas Tech. He was the number 1 receiver for Ryan for a while. He's kind of a hot-headed guy. He didn't really represent, I feel like, what Dave Hennigan likes to do with that program. And now I feel like, you know, you've had some of those guys move on. And this year's club with Seth Hennigan at quarterback, Dave Hennigan, his dad, the head coach, Kiori and Caleb Hicks at running back, you know, Billy Bowman Jr. and Jatavian Sanders playing on both sides of the ball, D1 commits. Like, I just think that this is the right team with the right makeup and the right leaders. These guys are just so focused in right now. Very, very similar to how Argyle had been all year in 4A.
And much like Argyle and even the Guyer Wildcats, all these kids start playing youth football together. They play middle school football together, a lot of times in the same system. So the chemistry, by the time they become juniors and seniors in high school, I mean, they know where the ball is going to be with their eyes closed. You know, some of these passing routes and things that they do offensively. Yeah.
And, you know, we're talking about all these guys on offense and how they've been playing, you know, Billy Bowman Jr., Kiori Hicks, Seth Hennigan. That Ryan defense might even be better than the Raiders offense. They had 4 turnovers in the 69-6 win round 1 against Bryan Adams, also allowing less than 200 yards of total offense against the Cougars. They only allowed 90 through the air and 48 on the ground or something like that. I mean, just dominant performance by the defense in round 1. And then in round 2, they forced 3 fumbles and 2 more interceptions in round 2 against College Station. That Raiders defense is insane as well.
You know what would be fun? And we're going to talk to some Argyle players here at the end of the show live on air. So stay tuned for that. But some of these matchups, you know, we had Ryan and Guyer earlier in the year, but some of the Guyer kids were out injured, and that's always a good matchup. It'd be neat to see Argyle, maybe some preseason games, non-district games, match up with, say, Denton Ryan in the future. We'll have to ask the Argyle kids what they think about something like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, those Argyle kids, I mean, after going 16-0, I don't see how you can't say yes to any matchup. You'd probably think that you could beat anybody, but, you know, no discredit to Argyle. That team has had an unbelievable year. I'm just saying, going up to 5A, I mean, the Ryan Raiders have beaten 6A teams this year. Ryan is just so stinking talented. That'd be so much fun to watch, you know, an undefeated Ryan team taking on an undefeated Argyle team, and so much talent on both squads. Like, I just, I don't know. I'd almost don't want to see it just because I feel like they're so similar for 4A and 5A. You know, let them take care of business in their respective district. But I don't know. After Argyle's gone 16-0, and it seems like Ryan's is kind of following the same path at the moment, I just don't know who's going to stop the Raiders. And number 2 ranked right now in 5A is Highland Park, and that's eventually who the Raiders are going to have to run into, it seems. But man, it seems like
Highland Park has knocked them off the last couple of years, either in the state championship or the semifinal game. And that's always kind of their arch nemesis when it comes to the postseason.
Yeah, Waco La Vega to Argyle is sort of what Highland Park has been to Denton Ryan. And I think that's really big for Ryan this week because they're taking on a 9-2 Longview team, the Lobos, at Mesquite Memorial Stadium on Saturday. They've got a 2:00 kickoff for that one. The thing about Longview is that they've actually already played Highland Park this year in the regular season, and Longview nearly beat the Scots of Highland Park. The final score in that one, I believe, was like 18-13. I mean, super close game. So Ryan may get a pretty decent look at what type of caliber team Highland Park might be this year by playing Longview, considering how close the Lobos played Highland Park earlier in the regular season.
Yeah, we're featuring some Argyle Eagles this week, but next week perhaps we'll get some Denton Ryan and Guyer Wildcat kids and coaches on as well. That's always now since school's out, they have an opportunity to join us here at noon. That's one of the downsides of switching to the noon hour is getting the kids and some coaches on, but that should be fun. So
so Ryan 11-0. I mean, they got a solid program on Saturday against Longview. I just think that they've been so dominant this year. As long as they continue to bring that same type of A game, they should be fine against the Lobos.
Well, man, the Lobos, a great brand of football. You see any way the Lobos can knock off the Ryan Raiders?
I think that when you're playing teams like this, when you're playing an Argyle, when you're playing a Ryan, when you're playing an SEC Alabama-like team in college football, the way you beat those teams is by forcing them to make mistakes and making as many mistakes as possible. And you, in the meantime, have to do the exact opposite, which is borderline on playing perfect football. And that's really what Longview is going to have to do against Ryan. They're going to have to somehow get the Raiders off of their path of domination, force them to make mistakes. And in the meantime, they're going to have to also play perfect football, or else the Raiders are going to go out there and continue to dominate no matter who it is, including Longview.
Well, Grayson, why don't we reset things? Maybe we'll hear from one more of our sponsors, and then we'll get into some Argyle state championship talk. And I think we're going to have a couple of the players from that state title team join us live, virtually, of course.
We're excited.
But let's hear from our friends at Marty B's. They're right down the road from Argyle,
yes,
and
sir.
A great supporter of Texas high school football. So let me see if I can bring up a little message from our good friend, Marty B. Marty, I've always enjoyed the range of menu items, whether you want to go in there for just an appetizer or a full entree. Talk to us a little bit about the selection there at Marty B's.
Yeah, thank you, John. The menu is uniquely crafted with a couple things in mind, and one thing I'm most proud of is that all of our meats are hormone-free, antibiotic-free, humanely raised, and fed an all-natural diet. So it truly makes a difference in the quality and of the flavor of the food. For example, we're primarily barbecue is what we serve the largest amount of. And so all of our Tex-Mex options have smoked meats that we use to prepare those items. And then we have one of the best hamburgers you'll ever put your mouth around. All of our beef comes from 44 farms down in Cameron, Texas. We cut our New York strip, our filet, and our ribeye in-house. And then all of the trimmings from that we fresh ground into our hamburger patty. And then we have our buns fresh baked from a bakery down in Houston. Unbelievable burger. And then, of course, the steaks speak for themselves, some of the best steaks you'll ever eat. So our menu is wide in range, but narrow in that it's just super focused on quality. So come out and enjoy salads, steaks, tacos, burgers. We have it all.
Marty, anytime we have friends or family come in from out of town, we always take them to Marty B's place because it's such a great Texas experience, and everybody just loves it. So thank you so much for being part of the Dinko Gridiron Show.
Guys, go check out more about Marty B's and martybsplace.com.
We might even go there for lunch today.
I know. It's such an awesome environment. And, you and I were talking like, hey, let's go get some lunch after this. And while the commercial was playing, we're just looking at all those pictures and being like, dang, Marty B sounds good now.
Hey, some of you Argyle folks or Guyer folks or whoever, Flower Mound, Marcus.
Barnville's
we
not
might
that
go
far.
down there. I say let's do it.
Yeah, Barnville's not that far. It's about, 30, 25-ish minutes here from the square down in Denton, Texas. So if you live anywhere near Marty B's in Barnville, make sure you go ahead and check them out.
Well, fans, one of the premier programs in all of North Texas, we've been covering for the last 4 seasons. Your Argyle Eagles, and wow, what a season! 16-0, Grayson, and just pounded people all season long. And I tuned into the state championship game on Fox Sports Southwest. Obviously, that's another neat thing. The whole state rallies around the playoffs, and they dominated the state title game as well.
Yeah, so the last time that we got to take a look at Argyle, they had just won the quarterfinals against Paris. So in the semifinals, they take on the Canyon Eagles, come out in that one 37-20. CJ Rogers, 4 passing touchdowns to 3 different guys. Jasper Lott caught 2 of them. Cole Kirkpatrick and Cash Walker each caught 1. Argyle defense was dominant, 2 interceptions, allowing just 95 yards rushing and 2.3 yards per carry. And then they go in state championship game in Jerry World on national television, or I guess Fox Sports Southwest.
Yeah, somewhat national. Yeah,
whatever. You know what? It was still an amazing broadcast. It was great to watch, and they dominated. They scored several touchdowns before Lindell even got on the board. Final score is 49-21, and Argyle, with head coach Todd Rogers and company, raised that championship trophy there in AT&T Stadium, and much deserved on both sides of the ball. They were absolutely dominant.
Well, hey, speaking of defense, I think we've got a couple of the defensive players on with us here live, and Darren Chappa and Zach Stewart. I'm going to try to bring them on through the miracle of technology. And, a lot of folks, I'll wait till they come on before I mention this, but let's see if we can bring them up. Darren Chappa, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Man, and I know you're traveling. Let's go ahead and bring up Zach as well, because we'll talk to both of you guys at the same time. Zach Stewart, how you doing?
Good, how are y'all?
This is starting to feel like red zone we got the triple box going right now.
Oh, yeah. You guys have been able to tune in and listen before we brought you on. Man, a lot of excitement around the season, and we mentioned it in some pre-show preparation. Defense wins championships. Darren, can you still hear us? Zach, how's your audio?
My audio is good right here.
I'm seeing, I know Darren is traveling.
Yeah, we know Darren's traveling around for the holidays right now. Zach, you staying home for Christmas?
Yes, sir.
Wi-Fi is jacked up.
Now, Zach, why don't we go ahead and just talk a little bit about this Argyle defense? I mean, obviously, going 16-0, that doesn't just all go on the offensive shoulders of, CJ and all of those guys. I mean, y'all obviously had to do your due diligence this season. I mean, you only got scored on 3 times in the fourth quarter all season. I mean, that was a mind-boggling stat that I saw during my research of just, getting prepared for today's show for you guys. I mean, what has y'all's mentality been throughout the whole year? I know sometimes, the defense units kind of got a couple of goals, a couple of key factors, or maybe even some phrases that, you like to live off of. What's kind of the defense been flourishing off of? What's been y'all's message to each other throughout the year? And how have y'all been able to just stay so consistently dominant here in 2020?
We wanted to, get to the football as a whole team, make group tackles, not just have, like last year we had a lot of solo tackles, stuff in space, and we wanted to have everybody around the football this year and play with an edge and then start fast. And I think we did that all year and keep our foot on the pedal when we got teams where we wanted them.
Yeah, it seems like you guys definitely had your foot on the gas a lot of the time. I mean, even on the defensive side of the ball, like I said there, just getting scored on so few times in the fourth quarter, it's not just about, like you said, starting fast, but man, to stay that consistent through all 4 quarters and not get fatigued like that. What do you think the key was to that kind of stat line there? Do you think it was a depth thing? Did you guys just have so many different players that were able to sub in throughout the game? Was that just a determination factor? Was it maybe the scores and the blowouts kind of helping you guys with maybe the second half of those games slowing down a little bit, or maybe just a combination of all those things?
Hey, Zach, but before you answer that, we're going to try to bring Darren Chappa back in. I think he's got his audio stuff. Darren, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Can you hear us now?
I can.
And Darren is traveling. He's gracious enough to join us while he's traveling for Christmas. So 2 of the defensive, Zach's a defensive captain, Darren, an accountability captain. We'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute, but I don't know if you heard that question Darren.
Yeah,
But
why don't I,
yeah,
Darren,
recap it, and we'll get some feedback from both these defensive starters.
Yeah, Darren, I was just asking Zach, about what some of y'all's key factors have been on the defensive side of the ball this year. He mentioned, gang tackles, getting to the ball as a team, playing fast, keeping your foot on the gas, love all of that. And I was just throwing at him, it's crazy to see this stat of, you only got scored on 3 times in the fourth quarter all season. It's not just about starting fast. It's also about finishing strong. How are you guys able to finish so strong like that and, keep that foot on the gas on defense in the fourth quarter, despite maybe being tired or fatigued like that?
I mean, most of the time we weren't really tired because we have a great rotation and we have trust in everyone on the defense. I mean, it shows when you have first and second string guys that can go. And I mean, it even shows in our district awards. All 3 starting TNT got first team all district, and then even saw the second team get honorable mention on our district honors. I mean, it shows when we have more than 3 people that can go at one position. So,
well, Darren, this season you had 72 tackles, 10 tackles for losses, 2 sacks. You were named first team all district, and I will ask you now. One thing that Coach Rogers does, and I really applaud this, is he has accountability captains that really kind of take some freshmen, sophomore, and juniors under your belt, and some other seniors, and it really played a big role during the COVID, where you were off campus. Talk to us a little bit about the accountability challenge and what that is involved with.
Well, the accountability challenge is just to keep everyone in line and just make sure we don't get off task and prepare us for next season. And I think it really helped with COVID because we already had a line of communication with our teams, and it wasn't just something that we wanted to do to keep our team together. It's something we needed to do, like a job. So it kept us in line and it pushed us harder and harder, which, I mean, shows in the end when we're getting a gold medal around our necks.
And Zach, over to you. You were a team captain, state championship game MVP. Congratulations. First team all district. You led the team in tackles with 104 all season long. I'll ask you both right now, is it true that defense wins championships? We're going to talk to one of your offensive cohorts here in just a little bit, but what are your thoughts on how the defense played all year long and what it meant for the Argyle Eagles?
I think defense wins championships. I know, because I think we gave offense the confidence to know that we'll keep them in the game. I mean, they know our offense can score no matter what, but they know if they need to get out of a bind, we're there to save them. So,
Zach, what are your thoughts?
I think it's nice for our offense to know that they only have to score a couple of times, which obviously they score a lot more than that, which they showed this year. They only had to score a couple of times because they knew we could get the stops, and I think that's big for the whole team.
Yeah, Zach. Like John mentioned, you got defensive player of the game or defensive MVP, whatever you want to call it, there in the state championship game. I mean, impressive performance for you, leading the team in tackles all season. Seemed like you really held that mark for yourself, even there in Jerry World in front of the big lights. What did it mean for you to win defensive MVP, for you to finish not just the season but your career off with Argyle in that fashion? And did you even expect yourself to get it? Did you think that maybe one of your other teammates was going to get it? How surprised were you?
I was actually pretty surprised. I kind of thought either Darren, Ty, or Chase was going to get it because they played tremendous the whole game. And no, but it means a lot. My last snaps of football, my last game of football, to go out like that. It means everything to me and means everything.
Yeah, you mentioned, obviously, you've got some opportunities to play college football, but you've decided, at least for now, to hang up as a champion, 16-0, and you're planning on enrolling at the University of Arkansas next year and just put that same championship effort into your academics and your college career at Arkansas.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's the plan.
And what do you plan on studying over there at Arkansas, Zach?
Probably finance.
Okay, sweet. And Darren, I saw on your Twitter, you officially signed to Hardin Simmons, the Cowboys, last Thursday, and to play at the next level. And congratulations to you on that. How was that whole experience with signing day? To have your name up there with the college banner flying, and get to sign that paper in front of all your loved ones.
I mean, it was really surreal. I mean, I really didn't I don't think it set in until a few days ago after state, just knowing like, oh, wow, this is real. We're going to play at the next level.
Yeah, because it kind of happened, I guess, like right in the middle of, playing and all that stuff. It kind of must have felt like a little bit of a blip there in the moment, and then, comes back to you after you see those pictures and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Last week was a long week. I mean, we had Monday was my birthday. Wednesday I signed, and then Friday we won a state championship. So
wow. I mean, what a way to celebrate your birthday there. Happy belated birthday, by the way.
So,
what does it mean to you to be able to play at the next level too? And, did you ever think maybe like back in, I don't know, middle school or when you're just a freshman going into that program with Argyle playing JV or what have you, did you ever think that you would have this opportunity to go the next level? Has this been a goal for you for a while now? Or, did the opportunity just kind of prevent itself over recent years?
I mean, well, freshman year, it was a dream, but it was just a dream because the school I was at, I had played fullback. We weren't very good and all. And then I moved to Argyle my sophomore year for football. And it just took off from there. They put me in a great position to, just tone my craft and led me to the right people and put me at the spot I am today. So
help prepare you for success. Well, guys, I think we just have one or two more questions for you. I do want to ask you, and I'm sure Grayson will have a closing comment. Your defensive coordinator, Coach Lundy, how important was he in calling the right defense, setting you up for success, and then also playing for legendary Coach Todd Rogers? I'll start with you, Zach.
Coach Lundy put us in the right position all year long. We go back and watch film, and he would tell us about the call he would make, and it would be like perfect for the play. And it was almost every time. And it's just great playing under his leadership, and it made everything a lot easier having someone like him and playing under Coach Rogers. Just a great coach and a great leader, and it's really fun.
Good stuff. How about you, Darren?
I mean, the coaches made the hard things simple for us, and I think it really helped out everyone on the team. The coaches' minds for football are just some of the best I've ever seen, and I don't know, they made the game a lot more fun and easy for us, and just it really helped in the long run.
Well, guys, we want to thank y'all so much for coming on the show today. I got one more question for y'all before you go off. I played a little bit. I mean, obviously not the level y'all did. I never went 16-0 and won a state championship in Texas and Jerry World. But, I played some ball, and I know that trash talk goes on all game long, whether you're on the line or back there in the secondary. Zach, for you played defensive back, so I'm sure you were one-on-one with some receivers and stuff throughout the air. Where does more trash talk go down? Does it go down there on the line in the trenches, or Zach, are you kind of yapping with your receiver that you're matched up with all game?
Yeah, I'd say it probably comes more from the secondary for us.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, okay. I was just curious. I feel like in the trenches, like you're just face to face with guys right there, and like
we're just trying to breathe and catch our breath after every play.
But hey, guys, stay with us. We weren't planning on this, but I think we're going to have a little crosstalk with one of your offensive leaders, Tito Bice, and we'll get his comment on what you guys said. It's the defense that wins championships. We'll get his thought before you guys sign off. So hang on. We're going to bring on Tito Bice to add to the crosstalk here. Tito Bice, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Now, I don't know if you could hear their comments when we asked them, is it defense that wins championships? And they didn't hesitate. What are your thoughts here?
I think defense wins championships.
Nice.
Sure.
Nice answer. Nice answer. And for the audience, maybe we'll get some comments in the chat. Who has better hair going on today, Tito Bice or Zach Stewart? Put in the comments who has the best hair going on. I don't know if you can see that, Grayson, but I think they bleached it for the playoffs.
Yeah, and I just got mine done yesterday, so I'm back in black.
Oh, you went to a hairstylist and had your hair did, Darren. I'm impressed you mentioned that on the air.
Oh yeah,
looking good, by the way. Looking good.
Hey, you got to represent. You got to do what you got to do for the W.
Well, guys, but before Darren and Zach sign off, any words to Tito?
That's great playing defense when you have somebody like Tito in the backfield. To score any second. Makes it a lot of fun to watch too.
It was fun just watching 4 touchdowns in a row at AT&T Stadium on the big board.
Man, Grayson, I'll tell you one thing that I pick up on covering Argyle for a couple years now is just they're also humble. They really play as a team, as a unit. You don't see any big time in each other. And I think that's one key to your all success. Would y'all agree with that?
Yes, sir.
I think so.
It's not a team; it's a brotherhood here. So
I like that.
I love to hear that.
Well, Darren, man, appreciate you joining us. I know you're on the road. I don't know if you parked. It's maybe lunchtime where you're at. Zach Stewart, 2 of the 11 plus contributors on the defensive side of the ball. Hey, thank you for joining us here on the Dinko Gridiron Show, and Merry Christmas, guys.
Yeah, good
thank
luck.
you for having me. Merry
Thank you.
Christmas.
Take care. Tito Bice, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Man, your name came up each and every week.
Yeah, whether it was for, I feel like a fairly positive or maybe a slightly negative reason, we're like, well, he's on the field and he's not on the field, and he's on the field and he's not on the field.
Yeah, actually, that's a good place to start. I know you're tired of hearing about it. We're not going to spend a lot of time on the injury last year. But early in the season, I did come out to the Waco-La Vega game. I think we got just a few snaps that game. But early in the year, you were getting very limited snaps. Was that partly by design, or did you have a slight – you can talk about it now, no more games this year. Did you have a slight re-injury of the leg there?
I think it was by design for sure. The coaches told me during the summer that I was going to be limited pretty much every game up until deep in the playoffs, just so we can stay safe and so I don't get hurt again. But I didn't get in the first game. I pulled my hamstring, just a slight pull. But other than that, nothing else happened.
Okay, so him and John and I really did speculate, because after that first game, we watched you had that big run and stuff, and we're like, it's taken a break a little bit since then. So we were a little bit curious, but obviously 16 games later didn't make too much of a difference. But just before we step away from the whole injury thing, can you just at least give us a little bit of idea of what that whole journey has been like for you from suffering that injury last year to over 12 months later, you're 16-0 and you're a state champion? I mean, what has this whole journey been like at such a young age for you?
It's been a crazy ride, and it sure has taught me a lot. And it's taught me to just be positive attitude through everything through life, no matter what life throws at you. And I just have such a great family, great community, great teammates all around me to push me through everything. And I'm just super blessed. It was tough times for sure, but with such great people with me, I think it made it super easy.
Well, Tito, hey, John Piper here. I heard a couple of your pregame interviews on, I think they call it the Eagle's Nest. Blake and Kenny and all those guys, Andy, do a great job with your all's broadcast. And, you had that right approach. You had the, hey, whatever God gives me, whatever I can do to help my team. And, they say the cream shall rise to the top. And you were obviously a key element in that success this year. And I think a lot of the players just rallied around you. They saw the work you did in the offseason. We talked to Coach Rogers early in the year, and he talked about it. Your work. I think you gained about 15 or so pounds of muscle in the offseason. You were determined, and it showed. And, man, we applaud the effort.
Yeah, and applaud the person too. I mean, to go through the whole season and, what was it, were you okay with putting that faith in your coaches for them to tell you hey, you're not going to play probably this regular season and we're going to keep you slow, wait till the playoffs, how comfortable were you with hearing that? Did you have all the confidence in your coaches to make the right decision there for you?
I had 100% confidence in my coaches. They're the best coaches I've ever been a part of, best coaches I've ever even heard of. So I just trust them with whatever they say, and I'm cool. I'm cool with whatever they needed to do for.
Yeah, well, I good on you there, man. I mean, that takes a lot of guts to put your future, put your faith in others, and obviously it's worked out pretty well up to this point, being undefeated. So let me ask you this question: at this point, when did you know that this team this year, being a senior, was the team, the championship team? Was it before you guys even took the field in game one where you're like, yeah, we can win the whole thing? Or did it maybe just take you a couple weeks to convince yourself all right, we've got what it takes to do this thing?
I knew since COVID, ever since we started doing those workouts with each other at home and we had that locker room, I knew with how hard we were working and with just how good we played in the previous season, and I knew we were going to get better. I knew during COVID that we were going to be a 16-0 state championship type of team.
That's crazy.
You know, there are a lot of teams, Tito, that COVID probably threw them a curveball or a wrinkle that they didn't respond well from. So that's good that you knew right from the start just the cohesiveness of the Argyle Eagles, and part of that. I don't know if you heard us talking earlier to both Zach and Darren about that accountability challenge and the leadership that really played a big role off the field this season.
That accountability challenge, I think, is one of the best things that the coaches have ever put into our program. I mean, they give us freedom to pick whoever we want. It's like an NFL draft. We pick whoever we want on our teams, and we go down the line until everyone's on the team. And we just try to get as many points, and we just compete. It teaches us how to compete. It makes sure we're all getting better and working out. So I think that really helps us throughout everything.
You know, Tito, with you being a senior, in years past, you were kind of a part of some of those losses to Waco La Vega, I'm presuming, and, them kind of being that thorn in your side in years past. But this year, earlier on in the playoffs, you finally got that monkey off your back. You guys took them down and, continue to stay undefeated and go on your championship run. What did that mean for you in the program to, take care of La Vega like that early on in the playoffs in the fashion that y'all did here in 2020?
I thought it was awesome. We came into that Monday before the game. Coach Bachtel came into the room and he was like, "Let's just do what we usually do. We're powerful enough to stop them on defense, and we sure can score points." So he came up with a great game plan, and after we executed everything and we ended up with the win, I just thought it was amazing. Everybody was super, super pumped, and but at the same time, job wasn't finished, and our job wasn't to beat Waco, it was to win the state championship.
Well, Tito, Coach Rogers is kind of the offensive genius, there at Argyle, and you had a chance to groom your skills and under his leadership. What was it like to play for Coach Rogers? And now, since you don't have to report to any more practices, any unique stories you can share here on the air about Coach Rogers?
Coach Rogers is a very important man to me. He's helped me with everything throughout life to make me become a better person, better football player, better teammate, just better everything. He's like you said, he's an offensive genius. He's a defensive genius. He has, I don't even know how many wins he has. He has a ton. And I just think with him coaching everybody on the team, it just makes us that much better, and it gives us that much of an edge.
And Tito, I know you're not really committed anywhere at this time, but what's the goal here now? What are the future plans for Mr. Bice going into the next level?
My future plans are to just kind of wait it out right now. I'm gonna for sure play at the next level. I have a couple opportunities, but
well, we know you got some opportunities. We're
hey Tito,
we're looking for something a little juicy here. Do you have a date?
One thing doing live TV is it'd be a good place to announce it. Just go ahead and announce it right here on the Denko Gridiron Show where you're going to play.
I don't really have an announcement for that yet. I'm still just waiting myself to see what else.
Well, when you get ready, holler back at us and we'll help you share that message if that's good.
I will.
Well, hey, Tito, we appreciate you for coming out here and being on the show with us today. I mean, incredible journey for you and your teammates, 16-0. State championship, and we said that Zach got defensive player of the game. Well, you got offensive player of the game, so congratulations to you on that as well.
Thank you.
I just got to ask, what was it like seeing a couple of those touchdown replays on that big old replay board there?
Yeah, that was the first time you got to play in AT&T, I believe, right?
Yes, sir. I've only been in there to watch a couple games, but I thought it was awesome. Like just looking up and I just see that huge screen. I mean, I've never seen anything like that in my life, and it was pretty awesome to see myself and my team up there.
Well, Tito, any final messages to the, Argyle is a community. It's a true Friday Night Light town. Any final message you'd like to share with the Argyle community, your teammates, your coaches right here as we go into Christmas and the New Year?
I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been behind us this whole time and who's supported us. I love my teammates, love my coaches, love my family. I love this community. And just thank you to everybody who's helped us. And thank you.
Well, Tito, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. Happy holidays, and we hope you have a great Christmas.
Merry Christmas, y'all. Thanks for
good talking to you, buddy.
Tito. the star running back of the Argyle
Yeah.
Eagles right there. State
Yeah, good
championship.
stuff, man. We had
MVP.
3 Argyle Eagles on.
That was great.
Darren was traveling. Hey, just like you learned on the football field, he had a couple technical challenges, but didn't give up, and he hung in there, and he came back on, and man, that was a fun. That's why we do the show. It's to showcase the players, the local players here in Denton County, and there's a lot more we could have had on, but those 3 are definitely big-time contributors to Argyle Eagle's success.
Yeah, and I'm especially glad that
them.
we got Zach and Tito on. I mean, they were the offensive and defensive MVPs of that state championship game, and they certainly deserved it. Great performances by them and by Darren as well, who's going to get to play at the next level along with Tito. I mean, I don't think they're going to the same place, but
I think Todd Johnson's putting on here. I think they're pictures of goats, like greatest of all time. I can't tell. There's like an emoji on here. Can you tell?
I
think that's what that is.
I'm not sure, but
Margie Campbell,
Tito
and she was on here all year long. Wonderful team. That's right, Margie. Thank you for being a part of the show. So really each and every week for I think the last 4 years, I believe, if my memory serves me right. So that was awesome.
So according to 24/7 Sports, Tito Bice currently has Georgetown, Incarnate Word, Navy, Arkansas, and Colorado as some of the schools that are interested in him. So we're not sure. I believe he's got official offers from Georgetown.
Yeah, he'll find the right fit. And that's
Navy.
what I tell any kid is, hey, find the right fit for you academically, athletically. It's not all about just playing right away, but has to be a good fit. Their program, your style of play. But most importantly, it has to be a good academic fit because that's what it all boils down to. Building that foundation academically, whatever you do in life will be so important. So
great having all of them on the show. Can't wait to see Tito and Darren play at the next level. And of course, shouts out to Zach and his endeavors over at Arkansas as well. Best of luck to all 3 of them.
Well, hey, podcast listeners, folks on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, thank you so much for being a part of this show. Share it out. I know we'll have a ton of people watch this on the replay throughout the holidays. So we're going to end like we always do with a short video. And you guys have a Merry Christmas, and we'll plan on being back here next Wednesday in the new year to talk some more Texas high school football. Grayson Nolette, man, Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Hey, I'm Mike Ducey from Fox 4. Make sure to tune in to the Denko Gridiron Show.